hope all is going well for you. I'm going to speak on just one thing about Sharon Osbourne, this whole conflict and her position on the talk and her resigning from the talk or being fired from the talk or whatever happened is a big controversy, and I think it's a shame. Sharon Osbourne, of course, is from England. She has a heavy English accent. She's become known as an excellent businesswoman, and from the stories I've heard, she's the one who helped Ozzy make his band and singing group so big that they earned millions and millions of dollars. And she was taught by her father. She actually learned her father's business, and she was able to take over for Ozzy and really be the person in charge who really kept Ozzy in control, especially as he had a number of drug addictions, and he had supposedly sexual addictions and other things that could have easily thrown him off the goal and thrown him into a ditch such that he wouldn't have been successful. But Sharon, with whatever problems she has, whatever addictions or flaws she has, she was able to keep everything afloat and financially sound. So she is really a great role model for women, and she took this position on The Talk, which is a show, women talking about issues, which was patterned after The View. The main thing about The Talk is it is all women, and so we suppose, just by the way the show is built up and the way Julie Chen had spoken about it in the past, is that it was more of a support group for women and also a woman's point of view as to things that are happening about them and to them. And it was a chance to get those views aired on national media. So when Sharon Osbourne took this position on The Talk, she was accepting a position to kind of represent women, the kinds of negatives that keep women down, that keep women from excelling the way she did with her musical business. Well, Sharon's problem was on one day on The Talk, which is a show I don't watch, but she was asked by Cheryl Underwood about the Meghan Markle Piers Morgan controversy. Piers is on Meghan like a fart. I mean, he just really can't stop talking about her. He's obsessed by her, and it's said that he had tried to date her and she rejected him in the past, which some people say has really driven him crazy to make him even more doggedly attacking her at every chance he gets. So she was asked on The Talk by Cheryl Underwood about this whole Piers Morgan, Meghan Markle controversy and about his racism. And Sharon said she doesn't think he's racist and demanded that Cheryl quote some of the things he said that made him racist, and Cheryl didn't make any quotes or allegations to support her allegation that he was racist. And Sharon became very heated and was swearing, I'm told, which was kind of normal for Sharon when she gets upset from her old TV show, The Osbournes. They frequently swore. Everyone in the family swore. And so that really wasn't unusual for her. But of course, on national TV, for a simple question, that was kind of rare. So that was a negative. And then it just drug out to being more and more crazy, the allegations against Sharon and so forth. What Sharon should have done is, she's close friends with Piers Morgan, who's English, and she's from England, and Sharon has connections to the Queen. She has had her band, Ozzy and the group, perform for the Queen and they have probably been given royal titles, and they go to probably multiple royal functions, teas and garden parties and all kinds of things. When people come to town, they want to meet somebody, the queen might pull out the Osbournes and invite them to some sort of social function. So she has ties to the royal family, and so she's met Harry, she's met William, she's met the core part of the family and lots of miscellaneous other people that hang around the royals. And her children consider themselves English and American. They aren't just from one country, they consider themselves from both countries. So they want to keep their highbrow ties in England, and they want to keep their American ties in the United States, and they don't want to take one side or the other. What Sharon should have said is that she really didn't want to discuss the Meghan Markle-Piers controversy because she has close ties to the royal family, and she has close ties for many, many years to Piers. And so she didn't want to get involved. She had a personal conflict of interest, which the other ladies didn't have, and she didn't think it was right to talk about her friends behind their back, so to speak, judging their comments, their actions, and so forth on a national forum. That's all she had to say. She didn't have to go into demanding statements of racism by Piers and then try to make a judgment. She wouldn't have wanted to do that anyway. Even if someone had said something that he said that was racist, she wouldn't have wanted to be the person who received that information and now had to make a judgment for or against Piers. She wouldn't have wanted to say anything negative against the royal family regarding the Meghan Markle controversy, and she didn't want to give up her place on the talk where she is supposed to be on the side of women, but in her case maybe she had some negatives to say about a female, and she didn't want to bring that into the whole picture either because of her position on the talk. And so she just should have quietly backed out and said, I'm going to leave this to you to discuss, but because of my personal ties for many, many years and to people in Britain, I'm going to not discuss it on national TV and with people who don't really know my background that well, or something like that she could have said. And that would have just pretty much ended it. She could have kept her job on the talk, and she wouldn't have had to enter into the whole controversy as to about whether Piers is racist, and now some people think she's racist. I can say I don't think she's racist. I think she has come up. Her father was in the music industry. He did very well, so she came up probably in wealth. And then with Ozzy, she generated a lot more wealth, and so she really hung around a lot of wealthy people, and she also hung around a lot of musicians. So she knows musicians who have drug problems. She knows musicians who have personal problems. She knows musicians who are crooks. I mean, she knows every walk of life in the music industry and the theaters and so forth. And also her husband has a lot of these problems himself, and her family has issues. So she knows both sides. And if you know both sides, sometimes if you're not hanging around black doctors and lawyers and engineers, and the only blacks you see are blacks in the music industry, you might know blacks as more negatively, for negative qualities that you might see in musicians, such as drugs, bad marriages, multiple girlfriends, whatever. But you wouldn't know blacks in general. And so she might have a feeling about the blacks she meets in the music industry, but she wouldn't know blacks the way she knows whites. She knows whites in all layers. She knows poor whites and rich whites and everything in between. So she would have a more broadened view of whites when she thinks of white people. So it wasn't really fair for her to pass a judgment on race because she's not that familiar with multiple types of people in the black race. She has views which might seem to be racist for some people, and for other people she might be very liberal because she does hang around a lot of different types of people where, like the Queen doesn't. So I feel sorry for Sharon. I don't believe she's racist. She is a person who grew up in a particular way around certain types of people, and she is what she is. She's unique in what she is, and I think she means well, she does well. She certainly doesn't come across to me as racist at all. She and her family are different. And just as we don't talk about her children and issues they have, and she doesn't talk about the children of other people and the issues they have in the media, her friendships should also be sacred. And I think friendships that are solid are very sacred, and I wouldn't trash a friend on television just for 2 seconds of a media spotlight. So my hat's off to Sharon for being a good friend to those people to whom she is friends, and for leaving the talk. And I hope she just doesn't feel too badly about her experience, because it was not thought up in the right way. You should never ask a person to speak against a close friend. If you know they are close friends, you don't set them up to speak against the close friend. Or if you're a person who lives in England, you certainly don't ask them to speak up against the Queen and members of her family, just as we wouldn't speak about members of Sharon's family or Cheryl's family. No one's going to speak out against Cheryl's mother or anything. So I think we need some respect. I think we need some better questions. And I think we need to allow people to put their own boundaries, what they will speak of, what they won't speak of, what's open for discussion, and what's out of bounds. Not going to speak on it. It's too personal to me. Piers is a friend. Regardless of what he says, I may or may not agree with him, but I'm not going to talk about him behind his back just for 2 seconds of media time. So anyway, that's my thought on Sharon Osbourne. I think she's a good person, and I think Ozzy's a good person, and they don't know me, and I wouldn't expect them to know me because I don't run in their world. So I hope we'll take a second look and think more openly and more inclusively so that all people can work with each other and we can get along much better. That's it for today. Bye.